Have you ever found yourself asking a question and then after the question you explain where the question comes from? So, kind of justifying why you asked the question. As a coach, it's often considered bad practice, right? Ask the question, let the question sit. And if the client takes the question in a different kind of way than it was intended, that's how they take the question, right? And that's where they need to go. So, I notice I sometimes do that, and there's two reasons I think for it, and one of them I hadn't considered. The one I was aware of is that I want to make sure that the intention of the question is fully understood, and I could say maybe I could ask a better question instead of explaining the question. It's probably true, but sometimes in the moment the question isn't perhaps fully fledged. Could I wait, sit with a question until the question is mastered or perfected? Yeah, maybe. But I noticed it can be really helpful to kind of point to the nuance of the question so that you make the question more powerful by making sure that it's understood in its entirety or well, you know? The other reasoning I recently learned from my colleague Nell Nguyen, which is explaining where the question comes from or why you're asking the question also creates a sense of safety for the client, a trust in I'm not just asking a question. There's a reason to the question, and this is how it weaves into the process, or here is why it's helpful or important to consider the question, right? So by giving a bit more context to the question, the client can understand how it fits into what we're doing here and why we're doing it. And then you develop more trust in the question and perhaps allow yourself to answer it more, perhaps allow yourself to consider it more, to engage in it more. Whereas otherwise, if you're not fully having that trust and security in that space, maybe you wouldn't allow the question to really open the door. So yeah, that brings up a lot of questions for me in terms of practice, right? But it also allowed me to see why sometimes I'm doing that. And I think that happens quite a lot. And I see that in supervision certainly quite often. Coaches do something in a particular way. It just comes out kind of intuitively. And then later on, we make sense of why did I do that? Or why did I do it in this way? Even though it goes against some of the rules of good coaching. And seeing value in that. It just points to the nuance of masterful coaching and how it's not always following the competency set exactly.